Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna be crocheting the same thing that we were crocheting last video, and these are the fingerless gloves. And actually, since the last video I was able to make all these, so I'm planning to make and give them out to my friends and some family, maybe my cousin. And you guys have met my cousin and one of the videos before. They are so easy to make. I encourage you guys, if you are starting out and you don't know a project to start, this is a really good project. Also, maybe like blankets or like pot holders, stuff like that. That is just like a square. It looks good, and you just pretty much need to know one stitch, which is double crochet. And in this part, it literally took me maybe 20 minutes to finish each one, so you can be watching something like this video and crocheting with me. So I encourage you guys to start with a very simple stitches like double crochet and single crochet when you are starting out, and when you know these two stitches, it will be so easy to learn any other stitch, believe me, because most stitches actually need either single crochet or double crochet, and then you just incorporate those stitches into a different stitch. I actually might make some tutorial videos for you guys on this channel again. The tutorial video that I have didn't really get many views, but I really like making those and teaching people to crochet, because I do feel like it's really helping people relax, like me, from a hard day of work. I get home and I relax and make a video for you guys, but it's just really calming and good for mental health as well. And also, I wanted to tell you guys thank you so much for being there with me, watching my videos all this time, even though I'm not very consistent and don't post all the time. I post like once in 2 weeks, but you guys are there for me and you guys are always watching, and that's just amazing. Thank you so much. And the story that I found is so crazy. I feel like there's still no answers to some of these, and at the end of this story you will definitely have questions as to why this even occurred, why this happened in the first place, because that's just the most ridiculous story and really sad as well. Let's get started. Nicholas Wagner Browning was born on February 9th, 1992. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland. His dad, John Browning, was 45 years old, and he was a very successful attorney in their city where they lived. And they lived in a town called Cockeysville in Maryland, which is a very wealthy community where everyone is rich, kids are going to private schools, stuff like that. And apparently their family was one of the wealthiest in that community. His mother, Tamara Browning, was 44 years old, and she was a dedicated homemaker, taking care of her house and children. And the children were Nicholas, who was 15 years old. Then there was Gregory, who was 13 years old, and Benjamin, the youngest, who was 11 years old. All brothers were honor students, members of the varsity lacrosse at his school. Nicholas attended Delaney High School in Cockeysville, Maryland, and he was a very popular kid in there. Nicholas was described as the golden boy, and all the teachers in his school said that he was very respectful all the time. He was very nice to everyone. But a lot of his friends actually said that Nick was not how he seemed, and he would actually be a very spoiled kid. He would make fun of minorities all the time, and he constantly complained about his father to his friends. The father who makes money for the whole family. And one friend named John Lockwood later said that Nick talked about killing his dad even. And then he even mentioned that he would like to kill his entire family, but ended up laughing it off as well. So John just thought that he was joking because Nick was known to have a dark sense of humor. One classmate overheard Nick talking to someone, saying that he knows his dad is really rich, so if he kills him, then he will inherit all his money. His friends also noticed that Nick could get away with anything at home, being the oldest child. He was actually the favorite child. He would beat up and be extremely rude to his younger brothers. And parents wouldn't do anything about it. He would constantly steal alcohol from his parents. And would take his parents' cars for a drive with friends, even before he even had a license. friends noticed that he actually had the car keys inside the pocket. He accidentally took them out and put them back inside the pocket, which they thought was weird because he claimed he didn't have the keys. That's the reason why he couldn't drive the car out. But they didn't say anything to him. And Nick suggested at this point to go to his house and sleep over there this time. So all the friends agreed, and Ryan's dad drove the 4 boys to Nick's house. When they got to the house, they noticed that the front door was open and Nick's Xbox was outside laying in the grass, along with Tamara's expensive jewelry. It was all scattered outside. So Nick ran inside the house to see what's going on. And this is when he noticed that inside the house was ransacked, and it looked like a burglary just happened. Nick ran to the living room, and as soon as he reached the living room, he was met with a grisly sight of his dad laying dead on the couch, all in blood. Nick then claims that he ran upstairs, and this is when he found his mother in her bed, also dead in blood, and both of his brothers are dead in their beds. So Nick was frantic at this point. He ran outside, and his friends and the friend's dad were all outside waiting for him to come out. And he ran out and told them about the ghastly scene that he just encountered. Nick ended up calling 911 at this point, and in the 911 call, Nick told police that his father had died from a heart attack, he thinks, which is super odd that he would say that, considering the state in which he was found. There was blood all over, and he was obviously looking like he's been shot in the head. When police got to the house, they could not believe what they were seeing. It was blood everywhere. There were actually pictures that I found while searching for this case, and they are pretty gruesome, and you can see that there's just blood everywhere. Super disturbing. Clearly it's a murder scene. No way it was a heart attack or anything. Any natural causes. So as the police looked around the house, they did end up finding Mother, Tamara, and Benjamin and Gregory, the brothers' bodies as well, in their beds. They were all shot in the head with a 9mm handgun, and the house was absolutely wrecked. It was a scene from a horror movie. I feel bad for those that came in to investigate, the police and everyone who was involved in that. Police also determined that nothing was actually stolen from the house. Everything was either thrown around the house or outside of the house, but nothing was actually missing. Money was still there. murder scene. It seemed that Nick had invited a bunch of people to his house for a party that evening. Police determined that John, who was on the first floor of the house, was shot first in the head. Then the perpetrator went upstairs and shot Tamara second. Was in her bed sleeping, so hopefully it wasn't a painful death. And then Gregory was shot after her, who was 13 years old. And Benjamin, the youngest, was shot last. Nicholas being the only one left alive from this entire family, became the prime suspect. Nicholas, however, denied knowing anything about the murders. Investigators did, however, notice that Nick did not seem to care that his entire family was gone. They're no longer alive anymore. He also didn't seem to have any emotions about being the first to find the bodies of his family. I mean, it must be so traumatizing to come in and see your entire family shot in the head. That's just insane. It would be so traumatizing, and Nick just didn't seem to care or show any sort of feeling about it. Police became even more suspicious when they found the key belonging to the family gun safe under Nick's mattress. And so they questioned Nick about this. Why was the key under the mattress? And Nick's response was, I really wasn't thinking about the key, and the key means nothing. And it should be noted that at the beginning of the interrogation, Nick seems so relaxed, he just doesn't care, and he even asked the detective to order him fries and burger from a local fast food place. So they brought him the fries and burger in hopes that he will eventually tell them something, and he just continued sitting there eating like nothing happened, like his whole family wasn't just killed. And meanwhile, police was investigating their house, and doing that, they found that the gun was missing from the gun safe, and that gun was the gun that was used to kill Tamara, John, Benjamin, and Gregory. Police did end up finding the gun inside the house on a workbench, and it was wiped completely clean at this point. Investigators also found out from Nick's friends who were hanging out with him that night when he went to get the car that he asked his little brother Gregory to leave the door leading from the garage unlocked for the night. Now, investigators knew that Nick is the main suspect. There were no other suspects at this point. And you guys, I am done with 9 rows of double crochet, and now I'm gonna do 20 double crochet around and stop when there's 4 was no reason for him at all. So why would he do that? After hours of interrogation, Nick finally confessed to killing his entire family, stating that he was tired of his dad constantly hitting him and yelling at him in front of his friends. He was just embarrassed of that. He said he wasn't planning to do it, but when he saw a gun laying on a workbench, he picked it up and saw his dad laying on a couch. And his dad was sleeping at this point. So this is when Nick decided to take his revenge. He stated that he was standing there over his dad for about half an hour and debating whether he wants to kill him or not, with the gun pointed at his dad as he was sleeping. He said that it was really loud when he shot the gun, so he was expecting the family members to come down and investigate the noise. So he waited for another half an hour, but nobody came down. And this is when he decided to take action himself. Ended up going upstairs, finding his mother sleeping in bed, and he stated that he now wanted to get rid of everyone as they were now witnesses, and he couldn't just walk away after getting rid of both of his parents. Nick went to his brother's rooms and shot each one of them the same way, in the head. After his confession, Nick was arrested right then and there at the interrogation room, and he was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. He was also denied bail at the hearing later that same day. Police determined later that the murders were premeditated and that Nick even brought an extra clip of ammo with him in case he ran out. District Attorney later explained that Nick wanted to get rid of his entire family, so that he would be the only one who gets the inheritance money from his dad. And there would be no competition with his brothers. His family, surprisingly, were very supportive. After the arrest, his grandfather submitted plea of clemency, which is mercy, on his behalf, alleging that Nick was actually mentally and physically abused in that family. The trial was held in January of 2009, and Nick ended up pleading guilty to all 4 counts of first-degree murder, and Nick was sentenced to 4 life sentences in prison, with 2 of them to be served consecutively. And guess what? After killing his entire family, now he decided that he is lonely in prison. And he is looking for a partner on a prisoner dating site. It's like a prison pen pals site where prisoners can post their profile and put in the description what they like to do, their picture, and the address for the correctional institution so women or men can find them and write to them if they'd like to. On his profile, he says that he has been convicted of a homicide. He also talks about sexual preferences on his page and says that he continues to be upbeat about life despite his bleak surroundings. And at the question if he has siblings or not, he answered no. Does Nick think that he's gonna get out someday? What do you guys think?